Well, I look a little rough today. I am tired, and as I lose more and more weight, I'm seeing more and more wrinkles, and I'm doing more and more face creams and all that. So I'm gonna have to break down and do Botox and Juvederm. But I've been silent for about a week on TikTok. Not silent, but more quiet. Um, Last Tuesday, March 10th, we got a phone call that my mother-in-law, who suffered for years with Alzheimer's, um, that the end was coming close, and that if we wanted to see her, we needed to get there. I called my husband, and he was close. Told him, "Hey, you need to go see your mom." I had planned on working, and then trying to get a hold of the kids and this and that. I ended up going. We spent the night, and the next morning, my mother-in-law passed away. So while that's been hard, and lots of tears and lots of memories being relived, she was a good woman and she didn't deserve this. So we have to find our peace with her being gone. And that's hard because I think even when you know um, that this inevitable is happening and that they're not doing well, it's still hard. It's still hard to say goodbye and all the opportunities that aren't there. I know my kids have been saying that, grandma won't be at my wedding or see my future grandkids or whatever. So this is the first day I've been back to work in a week. So trying to get back in that routine, and it's cold as hell here well, hell isn't cold, but cold here in Indiana. And so yeah. But as I was looking through stuff this weekend, I've kind of already done a TikTok or recording on this, but it's just some things that I found really helped me towards the beginning of my healing journey and trying to decide, what I want my platform to look like, what I intend on doing with it. And of course, that's grown and changed even throughout this last couple months. But I thought it'd be neat to just kind of look over it again because it's kind of neat. One of the things is, if you don't believe in yourself, how will others believe in you? So, you think about it, like you go to a job interview. What are you doing? You're selling your best qualities, your best skills. You're not going to go in there and say, yeah, I tend to be tardy or I miss a lot of work or whatever the issues are. And whatever we're wanting in life, that's what we got to do too. So if you're trying to repair your credit score, or you're trying to save money or get a better job or finish your education or write a book like I am, are there days I have self-doubt? Yes, there's lots of days I have self-doubt. I'm concerned about things that are in there that people, how they're going to react. I'm concerned about what if no one even reads my book, so then I don't have to worry about reactions because nobody read it. But instead of focusing on that, what I have focused on is, I believe in myself. I believe this will be good. It may not make me rich. It may not be New York's bestseller. But if nothing else, it was a healing journey for me. It helped me in ways. Now, there were times I would be writing and I had to just stop. I couldn't do it. I'd like to think that writing about happier things goes quicker and faster, but I don't know. Like I said, there were just times that I had to take a pause and I had to say, okay, I can't do this anymore. But just remember, if you don't believe in yourself, how will others? If you don't believe in yourself, how will anybody else believe? Because you're just radiating all this self-doubt. If life isn't good where you're at or where you want to be, remind yourself this is temporary. I heard so much when I had my suicide attempt and I was in the psychiatric ward for 3 days, that this too shall pass. And when you're in that storm, sometimes that's hard to hear, but there's so much truth to it. And one thing I have learned through life is sometimes those hard things to hear are the most truthful things to hear. And we reflect back on them once we've gotten through that storm. But I also reflect back on in a Bible study where one of our ministers said, truth without love is brutality. So while we're speaking our truths or sharing our truths with people, we need to be careful that we're doing it with love, unless you mean it to be brutal. Because when somebody is in that storm, you don't know what else they're dealing with. You don't know what their breaking point is. And they may reflect back on what you said later down the line, but right then they may not even seem like they perceive it, but it's there. So truth without love is brutality. This is from Mel Robbins. Hold the light up on your path for others that aren't where you are, but are trying. And I just think that is so powerful. And I've reflected and related back to that so much in my TikToks and stuff about, I'm following like Mel Robbins and the Love Doctor and Bunny, and I'm seeing their path. And as I'm reading Bunny's book, I'm seeing that, while there's a lot of different things that we've dealt with, there's some similarities. And sometimes I have to pause on reading her book because it's just painful. But I'm not where I want to be. I'm better than I was a year ago. But they're kind of guiding the light, holding the light, guiding my path. And I hope to do that for someone else. Some people are like, man, how can you be so vulnerable on social media and in public eye and writing this book and this and that? It was first and foremost for my healing. It was for my healing for myself and my family. There were times that I literally felt like I was alone in a crowded room and no one cared. And while some may not care, some do. So it was for myself, for my family and friends. But if I can help just one person feel worthy of healing, or them to find that path to healing, or not to take their life, or whatever, and change their outlook or their perspective and find happiness through me sharing my trauma and my story, then it was worth it. 100%. Silence can't be misquoted. Act like the person you want to become. Still working on that. This last week, there were lots of emotions, lots of misunderstandings and miscommunications. Death is always hard. And to remember to fight the good fight in the proper way. And, the only thing that we can't be misquoted on is when we're silent. So what we say, what we type on a keyboard, what we post on social media, again, I'm speaking to myself, we need to remember that. The 5-second rule. Mel Gibson, or Mel Robbins also. I always call her Mel Gibson. God, she doesn't even look like a man or anything. I'm so sorry, Mel. It's Mel Robbins. Anywho, the 5-second rule. And she's saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She does this a lot. She talks about this a lot on our podcast when, she had lost her job and they were in debt, going to lose their home, couldn't pay their bills. She didn't even want to get out of bed. She was drinking. She was doing this and that. Mine isn't that severe now, but I've been there, not drinking necessarily, but taking pills and just trying to drown out the world and the noise and the hurt and the pain and the disappointment. That was scary. So let's try this again. There's a ghost in my car. So, but now there's things like, it's cold, I'm tired, I feel overwhelmed, I got 1,000 things to do, I don't want to do this, I don't want to, whatever. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just get up and do it. Once it's done, you're going to feel so accomplished, so relieved. I had to do that yesterday. Our house was a total disaster. You know, we spent the night at the nursing home. We came home sad and slept and started pouring through photo albums, and then gone for 2 long days and this and that. Home late, tired, wore out, and things needed attention. It literally took me the majority of yesterday to get everything back in order, but I did it. But saying the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it interrupts your train. I swear I can talk. Using the 5-second rule, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it interrupts your old brain train of thought. It interrupts your train of thought. So I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to go to work today, or I don't want to do those dishes, or I don't want to fold that laundry and put it away, or I don't want to read this book, or I don't want to write this report for school or work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What it does is it pauses that negativity that we're shooting out through all over our being, which, you know, as humans, we're good at that. We're good at shooting that negativity and just looking at the glass is half empty, not half full. And then one other thing, and I don't remember if this was Mel Robbins or another podcast I listened to or what, but I listened faithfully to the Chrisleys, the Dumb Blonde, which is Bunny XO, Mel Robbins, and then some of the Love Doctor. And that's to kind of get my brain going in the right direction and helped me heal and things like that. So I don't remember where this came from, but it says time travel video. Tell your future you, what does it look like? So, you know, daydream a little, fantasize a little about what that future looks like. Do you have a 5-year plan? Do you have hopes for this year, for next year? It can be simple. It can be like, I'm going to take more me time, or I'm going to start working out, or I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to spend more time with family and friends. For me, it was I'm going to write my book. It goes on pre-sale April 10th. I have to have it submitted April 6th. It's becoming real. It's written. It's just we're editing now. It's real. When I first started this, I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what I wanted to say, what I didn't want to say, how I wanted to say it. But now it's coming to life. And I just had to keep focusing and picturing the end product. And when those doubts seeped in, I had to crush them. I had to crush them immediately because it would have been so easy to throw in the towel and say, well, you're no one. Who's going to buy Shel Royer's book about her childhood trauma? Who cares? I mean, there's truth in that, but truth without love is brutality. No, I'm no one famous. I'm not related to anybody famous. I don't know anybody personally famous, like friends. Maybe nobody will buy my book, but maybe somebody will. Maybe it will help one person. Maybe me not being famous when I wrote this book will be what they need to see that they can heal too. Call out the things that are going right in life. So, like I said, it's so easy for us to get stuck in that Debbie Downer, my glass is half empty, blah, 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 blah. I get in those modes too. I do. It's like we want to pick at everything that's wrong, and sometimes it just seems like it just keeps piling on and on and on. But that's when we need to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause, retrain our brain, redirect our thought process, and then go, what is going right? What do I have to be thankful for? What did I hope or pray for that now I'm living in? So stop and pause and think of those. When you want changes, manifest and wish for what? What do you want to be different? Think about that. If we're thinking about it and trying to manifest that and trying to make changes in our life, something good is going to come out of that. Identify what needs done. So there we go. Identify what needs done and change our attitude. Already been talking about that. So don't get stuck in that Debbie Downer, oh, woe is me, life sucks mentality. Because, yeah, sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And where do you want to be stuck at? Do you want to be stuck in the life sucks or life is good? Life is good isn't always perfect. We don't have perfect lives by any means. Self-awareness. Be self-aware. Like with this of my mother-in-law passing away, I felt myself getting worked up about something that it was my response to things that had been done to me when members of my family had died that were wrong and illegal and just immoral in some aspects. And I was projecting them onto the current situation. But the progress I made, while I still need to work on it and critique my responses, was I identified it. And then I was able to say, hey, wait, I'm not being heard. And that's a trigger for me. So self-awareness, move your body, move the negative out, and just remember, happy people do happy things. So when people are coming at you and being all negative and aggressive and spewing hatred and whatever, they're not happy with themselves. It's not you, it's them. And while no, you don't deserve that, and you shouldn't have to be the brunt of somebody's issues or problems, and maybe that isn't even how they meant it. It is a them thing, not a you thing. All we can control is our responses to things. And yeah, so I've got a next few weekends that are going to be crazy jam-packed because I work full-time and I have a full-time, part-time job. So in addition to that, I will be finishing up the editing and getting it sent over to Kindle. And I'm excited. I am. So I haven't done a new blog post, but you can check me out on my website too. It's ChelleBroyersJourney.com. That's CHELLE, B as in boy, R as in Robert, OYERS JOURNEY.com. Chelle Broyers with an S, journey.com. So soon we'll also be adding candles to the website. It's kind of started but not finished. Got to focus on this book first. So I've got a lot of irons in the fire. Looking forward to summer too. And wish me luck. Bye.